Give it another minute. Okay, I think we'll start. And Sonali, could you share the YouTube link as well? So good evening, everyone, and a very good morning to all my colleagues based in the US. Welcome to this panel discussion. But before we go ahead, I'd like to just inform everyone that the session is being recorded. And also, if you have any questions, please drop your questions in the Q&A section, and we will try and reply to all your questions. Other than that, my colleague will be sharing a YouTube link. So if some of you all are not able to participate today or currently on Zoom, you can watch this webinar live on YouTube as well. So a very warm welcome to this panel discussion. We are essentially going to be talking about how you can make the most of student support services provided by US universities. As prospective students, as representatives of international universities and forums, we all recognize that for every international student, choosing the right career path after a degree completion is very, very important. So on our panel discussion today, we will address the available career support services, and we will also review what stages of career development processes are available on campus by US universities. We will be hearing from our esteemed panel members, and today's session will help you gain knowledge about training and post-study work opportunities available in the US as well. So on our panel today, we have experts from Education USA and Wayne State University. I will briefly introduce them as we kickstart this very exciting panel discussion. So welcome everyone once again. So on the panel today, we have Ms. Chamu Gauri Shankar. She is the Assistant Director at the Office of International Students and Scholars, popularly known as OISS. Her responsibilities mainly relate to advising students, scholars, staff, and Wayne State University departments about immigration services and federal regulations. She also works on the Student Exchange Visitor Information Compliance System, and she has been conducting webinars and trainings on immigration regulations and cross-cultural issues for Wayne State University. So welcome, Chamu. Welcome to this webinar today. Our next panel member is Arlinda. She is a student employment coordinator with the Career Service Office at the Wayne State University. She supports Wayne State University students and helps them to understand the value of on-campus employment experience. Arlinda, interestingly, is an alumni of Wayne State University, and she was working as a student employee during her undergrad days. She has extensive work experience in multiple capacities in the career development services. Arlinda has a BA in psychology and a master's of education degree from Wayne State University. And very recently, she has earned a master's in human resources from North Park University in Chicago. Welcome, Arlinda. Our next panelist is Ms. Gabrielle. She is the project coordinator for education, outreach, and international programs at Wayne State University. She basically provides counseling and guidance and support to prospective students and newly admitted international students. She's really the person who ensures that the transition for all students to Wayne State campus is very, very smooth, and she's involved in the transfer student processes as well. She has a Bachelor's of Arts in Secondary Education from the University of Michigan and is currently working on a Master's in Arts in Higher Adult and Lifelong Education from Michigan State University. Welcome, Gabrielle. And our last panelist for today is Ms. Aditi Lele. She is an Education USA advisor and has been guiding students for over 2 years from the Mumbai Center. She has completed her doctorate degree from a US university. So again, being an alumni and a graduate student, she is very actively involved with international student community in various capacities. Um, as I mentioned, she is a product of American higher education and Indian higher education system. So she enjoys the most in advising and guiding students who want to pursue their education in the US. So welcome everyone. Just a 1 minute introduction about Wayne State University before we get into this panel discussion. So Wayne State University is based in Detroit. It was founded in 1868. It is an urban research university and a leader in STEM field. The university nearly offers 300 areas of study at undergrad and grad level, and it has nearly 27,000 students. So welcome everyone. This is a very, very brief introduction of all the panel members and the university. I'm going to start this panel discussion by asking a question to Gabrielle. Could you tell us a bit more about Wayne State University and what essentially is the application process and support provided to international students?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rudy. So hello, everyone. I'm Gabrielle Strakowski. Great to be here with you today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Wayne State University. So as Shruti mentioned, we are located in Detroit, Michigan. So we are in the Midwest of the country. This is an ideal location for your experience abroad because we're in the heart of an American city in Detroit, but we are also surrounded by the Great Lakes. So it's really the best of both worlds. And because we're in the Midwest, you really get to experience the beauty of all four seasons. So it's nice and warm in the summer, but in the winter, we also get the beauty of the snow as well. Wayne State is a premier Research 1 institution, which means it's classified as having like a very high level of research activity happening on our campus. So students who are here are really on the forefront of innovation and discovery. We offer 350 different programs in all sorts of academic areas, including engineering, business, medicine, pharmacology, education, law. Hundreds of different programs are offered. So there's really something for everyone. We're also located in the heart of the Midtown neighborhood of Detroit, which is really known for being an American cultural center. So there are museums and historical sites just steps away from our campus, which really allows students to engage in hands-on learning and really make the most of their experience abroad, both inside and outside of the classroom. We are also known for being the most diverse campus in the state of Michigan. We have students from over 80 different countries. And so by joining our campus community, not only will you get to learn alongside students from all over Michigan and all over the United States, but also from all over the world. We try to make the application process as simple and seamless as possible. So if you're interested in applying to Wayne State, you complete our application right on our website online. If you are an undergraduate student, you submit your high school transcript so we can take a look at your high school grades. And if you are applying to a graduate program, you would submit your undergraduate transcripts. And then students also need to submit an English language proficiency score. We accept scores from a few different tests. So we accept a minimum of a 79 on the TOEFL, a minimum of a 6.5 on the IELTS exam. And we also accept the Duolingo, which is nice because that one can be taken right online at any time. For that one, we accept a minimum of an 120 for undergraduates or 125 for graduates. Undergraduate students also either need to submit an SAT or ACT score, or you can apply test optional, meaning if you don't have an SAT or ACT score, that's not a problem. Instead, you just submit a few essays, letters of recommendation, and an extracurricular activities list. For graduate students, there often are program-specific documents that you need to submit with your application, such as a resume, a personal statement, sometimes occasionally a standardized test score like the GRE, but that really varies quite widely by program. So for graduate applicants, we encourage you to look on our website or reach out to me to inquire about what all you need to submit. The Office of International Programs, the office I work in, is really here to support international students every step of your journey from the moment you apply to the moment you graduate. So we really provide quite a robust system of support for international students. International students are a really core and important part of our campus community. And so that's one great thing about Wayne State is if you decide to enroll here, you will have a team supporting you throughout your entire educational journey. So that's a little bit about who we are as a university.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. Thank you for this elaborate information. I move on to Arlinda now. And Arlinda, we'd like to know what initiatives and support are provided by the career services at the university. I'm sure everyone out here would like to know more about the assistantships, full-time and part-time job opportunities, and the internships offered to international students.
Okay, welcome everyone. And I'd like to say, where do I start? Career Services offers a multitude of services. Primarily, we assist with job search preparation as well as employment. So we offer everything from career-related workshops, personalized career and employment counseling. We have access to virtual tools that can be used 24/7, such as our handshake system for applying for jobs, our big interview systems where students can practice interviewing, career spots videos where students can just learn about just general career information in a 2 to 3 minute video. And then what I also like to mention though too is that we are the centralized career center on campus. However, for our business and engineering majors, they each have their own dedicated career centers in those areas. So we encourage students to get acclimated with career services early on. We encourage them to utilize Handshake for events, for career fairs, and various employer events where students are able to actually ask these important questions to the employer. Also, what I'd like to mention too, in terms of, it's important to get acclimated with our office because we want students to come to us, bring your documents, bring your resumes, bring your cover letters, any questions that you have, because there are differences in wherever, depending on your background, your resume may look different than what a resume looks like here. So for instance, it's not common to have a photograph on your resume. So things like that, we want you to just definitely reach out to us to learn some of those things. Some other things that I wanted to mention too is that we encourage students to connect with the graduate school for some of the assistantship opportunities because that is a separate office there. We also encourage students to do their research. Research the company websites to learn about sponsorship opportunities. We also work in conjunction with OISS because we always tell students that, these opportunities are being promoted, but yet you still have to follow the policies and related procedures. So I'm just trying to see if there was anything else. I think that was quite a bit, but there are some other things. What I would encourage students to do is to look at our website. It's careerservices.wayne.edu. I hope, and maybe I can drop that in the chat. And I think that pretty much covers it. But we just encourage students to just come to Career Services, get acclimated early, we service all students, but if you're your dedicated major, then you want to definitely work with your targeted population for business and engineering majors. So I think that's about it for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlinda. Thanks a lot. I move to my next question, which is for Chamu, and the question is, how does OISS support the international students once they're admitted to the program and on arrival? Because this seems to be so important for all international students.
Thank you, Shruti, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the session today. Um, the support that OISS provides is pretty much starts with issuing the I-20 for our students. That's our first, kind of like a stop shop for international students. Like once you're admitted, what's my next step? When do I get my I-20? And those are the things that you reach out to OISS. We start the process pretty quick as soon as the students are admitted. But sometimes there are delays in getting the I-20 done is because we are waiting on some information from the students, like uploading their financial documents. And that's required to process the I-20. And if we don't have that information, that kind of holds up the process. So once you have the financial document, either from your bank or if you're getting scholarship, make sure you are uploading that in the admissions portal so we can have access to it and review it and make sure that sufficient funding information is there to process your I-20. And then the other things that's kind of delays the process is getting a kind of a clear copy of like your passport, or your current immigration status if you are already in the US. So those kind of information, promptly uploaded and kind of that helps us in getting your I-20 as soon as possible, because for our office, we don't want to hold up your visa process in your home country. So it's very important for us to issue the I-20 as soon as you're admitted so you can get the visa process started as soon as possible. Once we process the I-20, we used to mail the document in the past, but not anymore because the consulates and the Homeland Security have been accepting the digital copy for issuing the visa. So we immediately email you a copy of the I-20. And along with that, we also send you attachments of pretty much the next steps, the process, like it's like a flow chart. What do I do after I get the I-20? What is my next step? What are some of the fees I have to pay for Homeland Security to get the visa started? So those kind of very good information. So I suggest you promptly read the attachment that we are sending you, because many of your questions will be answered when you read that information, because it's very it's very simple and it's like a flow chart. So once you get accustomed to that information, things are pretty easy for you. And then one of the other things that I wanted to remind the prospective students or the newly admitted students is that as soon as you're admitted, let's say it's January now, but let's say you hear your admission by March or April, I suggest you register as soon as you get your admission. Because for one thing is that the classes will fill up very quickly at Wayne State. And so that's one reason you want to register. But the other thing is that there are two holds that are placed on your account about 30 days before the semester start date. The two holds are OISS check-in holds and then the health insurance hold. Those two holds are placed for a reason because we want to monitor your arrival information and your health insurance information, and we have to report your arrival information back to Homeland Security that this student has arrived at Wayne State and is going to start taking classes at Wayne State. So that's why the hold helps us to make sure we are collecting that information and reporting back to Homeland Security. So by August 1st, you'll see the hold. So then that means that you have to complete these processes before we can remove the hold. So that's kind of like sometimes it becomes very anxious for students, like, I have these holds, I can't register. And that's why I'm suggesting you to register as soon as you're admitted, so that that is checked off from your list and you can worry about other things, preparing for your trip and arrival and all that. The health insurance is a university mandatory requirement. So that is also something that you have to take care of as soon as you arrive here. There is information on our website through which you can go to the portal of the health insurance company and purchase the health insurance. And those are some of the things that to think about when, before arrival and after arrival, and how our office can assist you in that process. We have a team of advisors in our department who can assist you with any questions you have. Even after arrival, there could be questions like, I want to change my major, but my I-20 has industrial engineering and I want to change to mechanical engineering. Please check with advisors at OISS, because your academic information has to reflect in your I-20 document. So you cannot just change major and then just have the old I-20. So it has to be updated in the immigration system. So things like that, you could think it's very simple questions, but make sure you are in touch with OIS's advisors consistently throughout your program so that we can assist you with maintaining your F1 status, because there are some things that if you don't do, you could fall out of your F1 status, and that could jeopardize your stay in the US. So that's why, we don't get tired of seeing your emails, your phone calls. So please keep in touch with OISS throughout your process here or throughout your F1 status at Wayne State, so we can hold your hand and help you through getting your degree completed. And that's it about the support we provide.
Thank you so much. I think the dates that you shared were so valuable, and I'm sure everyone listening to this will really, really find it to be very useful. Thank you so much. My next question is for Aditi, considering that she is an alumni, have studied in the US. So Aditi, as an international student, what are the things you wish you knew before applying at a US university? And based on your experience, what suggestions would you want to make to future students?
All right, so there is so much, that I can cover answering this question, but I'll try and focus on the most important things, that kind of came in handy. So I think first step has to be where you sit down and you reflect on the fact that how can you define what are your priorities? What kind of academic experience are you looking for? Questions such as, why do you think US is the right destination for you to pursue your higher education? Asking yourself, what kind of career, what kind of short-term career goals do I have? Because then you're going to start looking at programs that can help you kind of understand that, enrolling in this program is going to help me get the skill set that will help me, reach my career goal, right? So I think the first step definitely is to sit down and reflect on what are the most important, things about, the experiences that you want to have. So when I was applying, which was, almost a decade back now, I wish I knew that the university's website has almost all the information that you require. Right. So that is definitely your official source, to find out, information regarding a particular program that is offered by X university. Right. So definitely, start doing an in-depth research into, what this particular program university has to offer to you. And I'll tell you from my own experience that I was very clear that I wanted to go to a medium-sized school. I wanted an experience in the classroom where there are not too many students. And of course, this is my preference. Maybe there is someone, a student who thrives in a big classroom, right? That's something that you want to ask yourself. I wanted to go to a medium-sized school where I can have more intimate interactions with, my classmates, with faculty members. I wanted to go to a school where, of course, when I was applying for a doctoral program, and the research topic was very, very important to me. And hence, I definitely wanted to look how many faculty members are working on a research topic that kind of resonates with what I want to pursue, right? I wanted to see what research, in fact, is going on. Does that, really excite me to go and join a particular lab, right? So these were some of the things that I started, kind of early on. And as an education USC advisor, I can tell you that this takes the longest, researching the program, the university, and hence it's very, very important that you start this very early on. Start the process of researching maybe a year and a half before you're planning to join a particular program, right? Um, Other things that I feel are very important are, of course, look at the curriculum, look at what kind of flexibility the program has to offer, look at what your academic requirements are. But then there are so many other things. So one thing is that you're going to learn a lot of things in class, but there is so much that the US university campuses have to offer outside of the classroom as well. So look at, student clubs. There can be academic or non-academic student clubs, right? I remember when I was applying, it was very important for me that I go to a school which has a large international student body, because I wanted to, build my network. And, I can proudly say that I have, friends from almost all the continents, because, that was something that was very important to you. One thing that students need to think about is that it's not an experience just for the next 2 years or 4 years if you're pursuing an undergraduate program, but you're building relationships for the rest of your life. You're building a network, and this is not going to happen only in classroom. For that, you have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to find out, what kind of student clubs are offered at this particular university. I even remember, I think at my university, there was no student club for cricket, which is a very popular sport in India, right? And, a student took an initiative and started a club. So even that is a possibility, right? You don't have to always engage in what's available. If you think that there is a need for something, you can always, initiate that, and have your own student club, right? So think from a wholesome or a more holistic point of view what experiences you want, right? There are student clubs, maybe within your department. Maybe you are a female student who's applying in the field of engineering. Look at, if they have women in engineering club. As Arlinda has talked about various services that the career center offers, the university's website is going to have that information. I can tell you that, all these resources and opportunities are out there, but they're not going to come to you. You have to go and find out, how you can access and, make use of these services that are offered to you. Another thing, I think what was important to me was also connecting with, the alumni, connecting with current students, especially because, I was interested in pursuing research on a very specific topic. And I came across the faculty member who eventually became my mentor through a research paper that I was reading, right? That led me to get in touch with, and communicate with this professor, look at what publications are coming out of that lab. Does that, make sense for me to pursue research from here on in that particular lab? So these are all the questions you want to ask. So first step is, check the university's website. The information is there. Look at the Career Development Center, what facilities are offered. Look at the International Students Office and see what, different volunteering opportunities are there for you, especially for undergraduate applicants. You're going to spend a very significant, amount of time on campus, and you want to make the most out of it. I remember that, I was a cultural ambassador for the International Students Office, and that really changed my life. It, opened up so many more opportunities for you, but for that, you have to take an active part. But before you apply, all of this information is present on the website, and you can, try and research that. If you can't find something about the Career Development Center, maybe, you can write to someone like Arlinda. Maybe you have a question about the immigration related process, you can write to Chamu, right? So every university has those specific centers and offices. You can get in touch with them. Let's see if I've missed anything else. Another thing that was, as I said, was very important for me was the research, right? If you are someone who is interested in research, or maybe you're not interested in research, but don't rule out the option. Getting the opportunity to be part of a research team with a faculty member is super important. Not just to reflect that on your resume, but also, it shows, it teaches you a critical, independent thinking process. It teaches you time management. It teaches you team teamwork. There are so many advantages of that, right? And when you look at the faculty profiles, all US universities are very well built. The websites are very well built to show each faculty member's lab site, and you can go and check what research is going on. How big is the lab? What kind of lab would you like to work? If you would want to communicate with that professor, right? So all these things are available to you. I remember when I was applying, I also checked out the Graduate Student Council, because I wanted to see, even before I start my research, is there a possibility that I can travel for attending a conference? And I found out that my graduate school actually offered some money, some funds for first year students to go and just attend, just participate in the conference without having to present. And that experience was very, very critical when it came for me to go and present my research work. So do a thorough research. I think it's very, very important that you spend enough time, create your own kind of Excel sheet where you're kind of making notes of all the programs and universities that you're looking up. It was very important for me, which I didn't know at the time when I was doing the research, but kind of figured out once I landed on the campus, was the health services. The health center offers a lot of services. As a PhD student, with research, life can get overwhelming, right? You are trying to manage your classwork, you're trying to manage research, you're teaching. So there is a lot going on, right? And our health center at the university that I went to had a support group for students like me who were writing their dissertation. I mean, what better can happen, right, than that? So it was a great source, for me, for motivation, for an incentive to keep pushing and, writing my thesis. So look at that as well. Just to wrap up, the answer to this question, Shruti, I'll say that again, sit back, reflect on what are your requirements, define your priorities. And when you do that, eventually you will be able to find the right fit program and university.
Thanks a lot, Aditi. I mean, very, very valuable. Had I been an international student, I would have really taken every word that you've said so seriously. Thank you so much. Very, very insightful. My next question is for Arlinda, moving a bit towards the skills of the future, since we talk about it all the time. So Arlinda, what do you foresee in terms of new skill sets that will be required by employers worldwide? And what support does the university provide to make international students ready for the job market?
Okay, so I just wanted to go back on what Aditi said about the networking piece. I would encourage students, that is so important too, in terms of academics, your career. I just want to say, as an example, one of our international students was able to secure research opportunity by just simply reaching out to the faculty member. So the networking piece is so important. As far as employers and the job market, we know that the pandemic has brought about a multitude of changes over the past 2 years. And what we are finding in career services is that employers are looking for candidates who are able to come to the position willing to learn and not remaining stagnant in a position. Employers, they want candidates who are willing to learn new skills. There are multiple tools out there. I will also say this: I think it's very important to establish a professional presence. LinkedIn is a great tool for that, because one thing coming along, employers are now more than ever, they're doing research on candidates. So you want everything that you have in terms of social media to reflect you in the best light. And so we encourage students, even with our handshake system that students use to search for jobs, internships, campus events, and things of that nature, we encourage students to even build that profile up as if it is a LinkedIn page where you can add your coursework, volunteer work, research, all of that stuff. So establish a professional presence, be able to start a position and continuously learn. You don't want to stay stagnant. Career services also promotes 8 competencies, and these competencies are based on research from employers by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And there are 8, so I'll just kind of go through briefly. They include career and self-development, understanding what you have to offer in terms of your career, communication, effectively communicating with all around you, critical thinking, being able to think creatively, and outside the box. Equity and inclusion, being able to understand the differences and the backgrounds around you. Leadership, just kind of taking the reins on things and not, just sometimes I think leadership, in my opinion, and critical thinking can go hand in hand, but being a leader and just taking it to the next level. Professionalism, just knowing, how to act in that professional setting. Being part of a team and collaborating, and because sometimes I know, I can be guilty myself of maybe working in a silo, but we all in our offices, we work collaboratively at the university as a whole, especially particularly in our student services units. And finally, the last one, the eighth one, is technology. Just continuously, that goes back to the continuously learning piece. And what Career Services does is that we typically have a number of workshops on each of these. Within our website, there's, and the link is in the chat, and the website is pretty simple. It's careerservices.wayne.edu. The Career Services is all one word. There is a section, all of these 8 competencies are listed. And in each way, we tell students how to strengthen these competencies, because you're not only strengthening these competencies on a professional level, but there are ways through your academic career and your class settings to enhance these. For example, leadership. If you were doing a class project, how can you show leadership? Can you show that maybe one person got sick and you had to kind of take the reins, you had to delegate? So those are ways to get these competencies. Another thing is that we also ask students to display this on your documents in some way, in your cover letter. When you're writing to an employer, explain these things. These things are important now. Instead of having on your resume just a list of things, empathetic, great communicator, point them out somewhere in your job duties. You have to find a way to stand out. One thing I did want to mention that I think I had forgot, we have an internship, a couple internship tools, virtual tools on our website too, for students to search. Finally, as I close up, I just want to say that it's very important to be flexible, adaptable in the job market. You have to be able to pivot. For example, I can use Wayne State as an example. After the Christmas break, we thought we would be in the office, but here we are working virtually. So having that, in addition to the competencies, kind of just being a learner, you just have to pivot to meet the needs of the employer. And it's also great to just continue, as you see down the line, examine your career. You may be in a place where you're saying, well, this is not a good fit for me. I need to do something else. But we in Career Services, we are here to assist. Like I said, we offer workshops, individualized counseling. There's information on our website on how to gain these. And we have employers. And sometimes I think it's important for students to actually attend these employer events, because we can say it, but when the recruiters and HR folks are saying it, it takes on a different connotation. So I encourage students to, get acclimated with us, but attend our events, talk to those employers, ask questions, because sometimes they can give you a little bit more insight than what we are, because they are on the other side. They're hiring, they're actually in the trenches, as they say. So I think that's pretty much, that sums it up.
Thanks a lot, Arlita. Thank you. As you lightly mentioned, the way we work is changing. So naturally, the skills that we need are going to change. And your insights were very, very helpful. Thank you so much. I move to Chamu with my next question. And that really is about in-depth information about the F1 visa status. So Chamu, could you provide us with some information on the types of permitted employment options available for international students on the F1 status, and how can students really use and apply for such opportunities?
I'm sure, Shruti, because this is a very hot topic for our F1 students, because, knowing the options and, what is available as work authorization is very crucial because that's the goal for our students, right? They want to come here, study, but then want to pursue their employment in the field that they are getting their degree. But before I talk about options, I wanted to start with on-campus employment, because that is also an employment option for our students. So as an F1 student, as soon as you arrive, you can arrive as early as 30 days before your semester start date, and you are allowed to work on campus about 30 days before your start date, and you can continue to work throughout your program, as long as the department is hiring you as a student assistant, or some kind of an assistantship like teaching or graduate research assistant. But what I wanted to point out with the on-campus employment is that the federal regulation allows F1 students to work only up to 20 hours during their academic semesters, like fall and winter. And then spring summer is considered as a vacation semester for F1 students. That means that they can still take classes that they wanted to take, not like, you have to be full-time during fall and winter. But during spring summer, you can work up to full-time on campus employment. But how do I get on campus employment, things like that? I will direct them to the career services, Arlinda and her team, because they assist students with those kind of information. The next thing is that about internships. So if you have an internship in your program and you wanted to have a work authorization to work in your co-op or internship or practicum and things like that, that's very important for our students, because that gives them the experience while they're pursuing their program, to add up in their resume when they are looking for their full-time opportunity after they graduate. So for internships and practicums, the option is called CPT. It's called Curricular Practical Training. And that has to be approved and endorsed in their I-20, and our office will assist you with that process. So once but there is a requirement you have to meet before you can pursue that. This is not something you land here and in the first semester you wanted to start doing your CPT. CPT has a requirement of being full-time for 2 academic semesters, and then you become eligible. Again, this is not a university policy. This is a federal regulations that you have to meet this requirement. And once you meet the requirement and you have an internship coursework in your program, you can reach out to our advisors team, and we can help you with the process and endorsing the CPT in your I-20. After graduation, you have an opportunity called OPT, which is optional practical training. And again, that is also a process. It's not something it's automatic, just like an on-campus employment. You have to follow through the process and get approval. And for OPT, you have to get the additional approval from Homeland Security. And once they approve, they will send an employment authorization card, which is called EAD card. And that's what you need in order to, start working at your employment. So it's very crucial that you, again, work with our advisors team, so you get all the information and you start the process on time and get everything lined up, because OBT takes about 3 or 4 months for the government to approve. So that's why I work closely with our office so we can guide you along when to apply and the process and all that. And then after OPT, students who are in the STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, get an additional 2 years of extension on their OPT. So OPT is given for all programs. You apply and government gives you 1 year of OPT. But students who are in the STEM degree will get an additional 2 years. And again, it's not an automatic thing. You have to apply with the Homeland Security and you have to get that additional 2 more years. So it's really nice. I mean, for students who are coming in the STEM program, they get about 3 years of OPT to utilize to work in the US and gain their experience. And after STEM, or after you run out of the OPT time, you have to look into other work options like H-1B and things like that. And that's a different visa category itself. That's not part of your F1. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure this information will be valued by listeners because, like you said, this is a hot topic and everyone wants to know about it in advance. Thank you so much. My next question is for Aditi. Aditi, given your extensive work experience in the US education sector, what are the changes in application patterns that you are observing? And this includes study disciplines observed from Indian students pre and post-COVID.
All right, thank you, Shruti, for the question. So these are more, as observations as an Education USA advisor. So, as we saw, with the onset of the pandemic, we, all went onto virtual mode. And I think everyone adapted to that pretty quickly, because the advantages were really outweighed by other things. I think we were able to, so for the past 2 years now, EdUSA has been doing a lot of virtual outreach, and a lot of students from like second tier cities and towns are now able to connect with us, which we were previously not able to do because we couldn't go physically for in-person outreach everywhere, right? So that definitely has helped to reach out to students who are really interested in pursuing higher education in the US. What we've been seeing is, with respect to undergraduate applicants, that, because of the test optional policies for most of the universities during the pandemic, a lot of students are applying to not more schools, taking the chance. One, because, they just want to take a chance and see where they can get in, but also the fact that, given that, it's test optional, they're not entirely sure where exactly they might get, admitted, right? So we've definitely seen that, the number applying to the universities has definitely gone up. Another thing that we are also seeing is students also thinking about more affordable education. So a lot of undergraduate applicants are also thinking about community colleges, which is a great option, for students who are interested in pursuing their undergraduate degree program in the US. Another thing that we've really observed is, with everyone moving into the virtual mode, the organizations and industries have also pivoted pretty quickly to virtual mode, which means that internship opportunities for graduate applicants or undergraduate applicants are now available online. That being said, we've also seen a lot of our mentees have also taken up very creative ways of participating in extracurricular activities. So we've had students who ran a community kitchen during the pandemic when there was a lockdown in the country. One of my mentees has, built an app where they've used machine learning and AI to kind of track ambulances that will help the hospitals and the administration. So these are some really, really creative, ways that students are coming up with, where they don't have to engage really in in-person activities, but do this using, their existing skill set, and be, very useful, given, the challenging times that we lived in, right? Which we continue kind of, to live in. So these were some of the things that I've seen from the aspect of students. We've also seen that a lot of students who are not able to take the tests such as SAT or ACT have also tried to kind of take up certified online classes to kind of demonstrate that they are interested in pursuing this program. They are trying to maybe do some prerequisites required to to enroll in a particular program. So which is I think great. Definitely, what we have seen, especially from the parents' point of view, we get a lot more questions these days about, the mental health, safety, and security of their children. That is something, and has become a very important part of the application process. And I think that it's also, kind of indicative of more humane, more inclusive recruitment strategy, that we hope to see in the future. That where the students, the applicants, and the parents are are equally engaged in making sure that it's not just the academic part, but also other things that are also important in, in the growth of a particular student, right? So these are some of the insights that I have from the students' point of view, the parents' point of view. From the university's point of view, we've also seen that a lot of universities have, put in a lot of efforts into creating local partnerships where, there's some course delivery that students can do right, from here, from India, until they actually get the visas, because of so many restrictions were in place. We've definitely seen that. A lot of tuition waivers, deferrals. So a lot of universities have also given, the students a chance to defer their admissions because of visa restrictions, and things such as that. We've also seen, especially for undergraduate applicants, various online application portals. So for example, Common Up has a prompt now where a student, if they want to write about, their situation during the pandemic and how that has affected him, what has, that taught him, what challenges did they face, they have that space now. Right. So along with the all, traditional prompts, essay prompts that students have, they also have this added prompt that I think has really, really helped. So we have seen mentees utilize this prompt to develop their essays. We've also seen universities offering a lot more information sessions with a lot of faculty members, right, which is very important for students to understand what it's going to look like, to sit in a classroom in that university, right? So which is also, I think, has been made possible because of the virtual mode, right? Otherwise, this was very, very difficult to do. Let's see, I think another highlight that I've seen, which is, a good part about the pandemic, is universities quickly adapted to offering virtual tours. So you could literally feel like you're walking on campus and, ask yourself that, do I see myself going to this, this university or not, which is, I think, a very cool feature. I think it's even important for the parents to, be part of that process, which they can't necessarily do because, they're so far away and can't really go to the campus. I think a lot of universities have also put in kind of, efforts into coming up with different scholarship options where international students can apply way beforehand. So I think that there are a lot of things that we have seen, that in 2 years in this process. I'll also say, though, traditionally, Indian students, we see that engineering, computer sciences, mathematics are, a favorite field of studies, and that hasn't really changed pre or post the pandemic. So these are some of the insights, and it's still a developing situation. So we might see, trends changing as we go forward.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, very interesting and realistic conclusion that engineering still remains a top choice for Indian students. And we keep hearing that all the time. So, this really affirms what we keep seeing as a trend and we keep hearing. So thank you so much. We've almost reached the end. So I am going to request Gabrielle if she has any final comments or anything that you would like to highlight about the university or the career support services. So Gabrielle, over to you.
Shruti. So I just wanted to say that, we're really excited that you are exploring education abroad. I know it's often a very challenging and stressful endeavor, but also a really thrilling one as well. And as I'm sure you can see from the remarks from our Wayne State team here, Wayne State University is a very supportive community that fosters a lot of opportunities for growth and success among our international students. So, we love welcoming international students to our campus. International students are a central part of our community. And so we hope you will choose to apply to Wayne State and take advantage of the educational opportunities that our institution has to offer. As I mentioned earlier, the Office of International Programs, which is the office I'm a part of, is kind of like a central hub for international student support. So I'm going to put the email address for our office in the chat. If there are any specific follow-up questions about Wayne State, feel free to reach out. And if you have questions about, the Office of International Students and Scholars or career services, I can also connect you to the appropriate people. Or if you have, specific questions about like a program I can connect you to, program directors for further assistance. We're a great place to start if you have questions. So I am just going to put our email in the chat in case you'd like to reach out. And I hope you decide to apply to Wayne State.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. Thank you. And yes, I'd just like to highlight and remind that there are some very, very useful links in the chat. So anyone may find this useful. I'd really request and suggest that we all copy these links which are available in the chat function. That's really about it for today. I would really want to thank everyone present here today, especially our esteemed panel members and Education USA, Aditi from Education USA. And really thank you for being here today, especially our colleagues from the US, because this is really early for them and it's winters. So I really appreciate that you have taken this effort of waking up so early and spending time with some prospective Indian students. Thank you very much once again, and hope to see some more applicants and students on the way to Wayne State University. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.